Alright guys, in today's video I'm going to be giving my predictions or some of my expectations for tomorrow's PlayStation 5 showcase event. We are all very excited and I just kind of want to lay everything out on the table, let you guys know what I think is most likely to happen, what we can expect to see. I know that there are a lot of expectations for new game reveals and announcements as well, so we're going to talk about that. I'm going to do my best to not make this a 20-minute long video, but I cannot make any promises. I also do want to let you know that I will be streaming this event live here on the channel tomorrow. I plan to go live at 3 p.m. Eastern, so a good hour before the event kicks off so we can hang out and chat a little bit. We're obviously going to chat more after the event actually goes down, talk about what was revealed. And for those who are maybe a little bit nervous that I may have some issues as I've run into in the past with streaming, I did a private stream the other night to kind of test everything out and ensure that I could find a solution. And I'm pretty sure, in fact, I'm certain at this point that I realized what I was doing wrong this entire time, causing some of my streams to really not run ideally. So don't worry about that. I'm pretty sure I have it sorted out. It's going to be a good time, but let's just dive right into it here. First, and most obviously, we're going to get the PS5 price, we're going to get the release date, and we are going to get pre-orders. That is pretty much a guarantee at this point. Now, my final prediction for the pricing of the PS5 is going to be $500 for the physical version, the version that plays discs, and $400 for the digital edition. I could end up being wrong here because it wouldn't shock me, although it's not what I'm anticipating, but it wouldn't shock me if the physical edition of the PlayStation 5 came in at $449. But that's my final prediction, $500 and $400, and I'm going to predict that pre-orders are going to go live either on the 18th or the 21st. I could be wrong on this one. I'm not saying this is a guarantee at all, but it just seems to me that one of Sony's advantages for, with waiting, I should say, for Microsoft to go first is they could open up pre-orders before Microsoft gets a chance to open up pre-orders for their next-gen Xbox consoles. Moving on from that, talking about the idea of there being a teardown or how much we're going to see of the UI at this event, I do not think there's going to be a teardown. I don't think it makes sense for Sony to kind of hype up an event like this to show some type of teardown. To most people, that's not very exciting. I think that will come later on in the month, possibly even in October, possibly even sometime after launch, although I don't think that's likely. But I think it's going to come later either way. I don't think it's going to show up at this event. The UI, to me, this is kind of 50-50. If Sony's going to announce a release date, a price, and open up pre-orders, then it just makes sense that they're going to have to show some of the UI. So if they do end up showing the UI, I think that's exactly what we're going to see. Is we're going to see some of it, not all of it. I think they're going to give us a little glimpse and maybe show a couple features, but it's not going to take up too much time. And I think they're going to let us know that they're going to do a much deeper dive into it relatively soon. But they're going to show off maybe just some of the more important aspects of it that are going to make people feel comfortable with, wanting to pre-order. I mean, it just makes sense. If you're going to open up pre-orders, if you're going to let us know how much it's going to cost and basically say, hey, you can go buy it now, people are going to want to see, like, well, what does the UI look like, right? So I do think it will show up. I just don't think it's going to be as extensive as some people might think. I do think that Sony could potentially announce some studio acquisitions, maybe one or more, at this event, and the only two acquisitions that kind of pop up in my head that seem most likely are either Bluepoint Games or Housemarque, possibly both. I also wouldn't be surprised if we didn't hear anything about studio acquisitions. I think any other studio acquisition outside of Bluepoint or Housemarque at this point would come as a pretty significant surprise. But now we're going to talk about what I believe is going to be the main focus of this showcase event, that being the games. I think the games are going to be the main focus. I don't think that we're going to see an overwhelming show. We could. I mean, there's no doubt that there are expectations that we will see something new, but I kind of broke this up into two different sections. The first section, in my opinion, are games that are most likely to show up or in some cases guaranteed, and these are games that we already know about. So I'm going to just read off the list. Spider-Man Miles Morales, I think it's safe to say we will see this game to some extent. I know people are expecting an extended gameplay demo. I do not think you're going to get that. I think at the most you're going to get a gameplay trailer, because an extended, say, 15 to 20 minute gameplay demo will come possibly during an October State of Play. That makes the most sense to me. Demon's Souls Remake, I think, will for sure be there, and I think it'll be the same thing. We could potentially see an extended gameplay trailer, nothing too long. I'd say maybe 3 to 5 minutes max, and possibly the announcement that it will be a day one launch title, which in my opinion would be huge. Godfall, I think we could potentially see this again show up at the event. They did just release a new gameplay trailer, and it looks phenomenal. It looks like the game got a massive graphical upgrade. That's all everybody's talking about right now when it comes to Godfall. So it seems like people's hype for that game really shot up significantly in the past couple days. I wouldn't be surprised if it was there. Gran Turismo 7, I think we could see it here, but we already kind of did get a glimpse of the gameplay. So if it does show up, I think it'll just be a short trailer, possibly a release window or an actual release date. Horizon Forbidden West is one that I would expect to show up, but I'm not sure what exactly we're going to see. If I had to take a guess, I think it would be another trailer. I don't necessarily know that it would be a gameplay trailer. Maybe it could be a mix of like a story trailer, and then there's just like some slight glimpses of gameplay in there. That's what I would expect. Possibly a release date. We already have a release window, that being sometime in 2021, so it's possible. There's Ratchet and Clank. When it comes to Ratchet and Clank, I'm not really sure. I mean, at this point, we kind of know everything we need to know about the game when it comes to, when it's going to launch. We know it's going to be within the launch window. We saw an extended gameplay demo. We have a trailer of it. So it wouldn't surprise me if Ratchet and Clank doesn't show up, but it seems like if we see it, it won't be that surprising. Returnal is another one that it wouldn't surprise me if we saw more of this. Although if you do look at the trailer for Returnal, we did kind of get a pretty good look at what the gameplay is going to be like. So I don't know. Returnal to me seems like it could show up. If it does, I would just expect another trailer. I guess what I'm trying to say here before I continue on here is I don't expect to see an extended gameplay demo of any games at this showcase event. I just don't think that's how Sony wants to do it anymore. I think if they're going to show extended gameplay demos that are longer than 10 minutes or around that 10-minute mark, it's going to be during dedicated State of Plays. That makes the most sense to me at this point. We could also see GTA 5, the enhanced and expanded version of it, whatever that may end up being. We could see Resident Evil 8, we could see Pragmata, we could see Project Athia. These are all games that we know are already announced and revealed, and people are kind of waiting to see more of. I'd say the only game on this list that people probably aren't so eager to see more of, it's Ratchet and Clank, because we did see that gameplay demo recently. Now we're going to move on to the surprise reveals, these surprise announcements, and I also broke this up into two separate categories. The first category I am calling the most likely surprise game reveals or announcements, and I want to make it clear that even though I do have a lot of games listed here, do not be surprised if you don't see any of these, but if you do see one of these, keep in mind that's all you may end up seeing is just one of these games revealed or announced. But there seems to be a pretty decent list here of games that are looking somewhat likely, and we do have evidence, kind of pointing towards some of them. So the first one, and in my opinion, I think this is, I don't want to say guaranteed because it's not, but I think if we're going to see a new game announcement, like if I had to put my money on any one game showing up at this event, the most likely, it's going to be God of War 5 or God of War Part 2, whatever you want to call it. It seems that Cory Barlog is either hardcore trolling his fan base, or he's just giving some subtle teases and nods that, yes, the next God of War will be showing up. So I fully expect it. I don't necessarily think it's going to be an extended trailer or anything like that. I think it could just be a 30-second tease, which would be more than enough. But at the same time, who knows? Maybe we could see a trailer that's 2 to 3 minutes long. But either way, I do expect creators to show up in one form or another at this event. So I put that one at the top because to me, out of all the games I'm going to run off on this list, that is the most likely. We also have Final Fantasy 16, and I specifically put this one at number 2 because there seems to be some evidence that this is going to show up at the event. There seems to be some Twitter accounts that are locked or private or whatever that were created, and we did hear that apparently, from supposed insiders, that this is one of the games that Sony has secured a timed exclusive deal with. Then there is SOCOM. Now, SOCOM I do think is somewhat likely, but under that I also have Killzone. So I think these two games are just as likely as one another, but I'm hoping that SOCOM is here. We've heard this talked about for quite some time now, but unfortunately we don't really have any actual evidence that either of these games exist, but it's really not that far reaching to anticipate we could see one or the other revealed at this event. We also have the secret San Diego AAA title. I'm putting this one under likely surprise reveals because it would be a surprise, but I'm putting it under likely because we know it's a thing that exists. It's a studio that's currently working on a secret AAA title. It's going to be narrative driven, cinematic. A lot of people think it's going to be the next Uncharted, so I'm not saying it's necessarily likely it will show up, but that if we do see a secret title revealed, this is one that does in fact exist, and we know it for a fact, so we could see it. And finally, on this likely list here, when it comes to surprise game reveals, I have The Last of Us Online, or the separate multiplayer game that Naughty Dog is working on. They've apparently been working on it for some time. They've been pretty quiet about it, so it wouldn't shock me if we see it show up here. But now we are going to move on to what I'm calling either 50-50 or less likely. So it's exactly as it says. These games I'm going to list to you are very much 50-50, kind of up in the air, but there certainly are games on this list that are very unlikely. And in fact, I went to my Twitter account and asked some of you guys to just let me know which games you think are just kind of far-reaching, but still within the realm of possibility, right? Maybe to even if it's just by 1%. But there are some games on this list that I think, are certainly possible. And starting with Silent Hill. To me, Silent Hill is one that has to go under the 50-50 category because we don't actually have any real tangible evidence of its existence. It's just been rumors, but it's been a lot of rumors, and it almost seems like an open secret, so I'm fully anticipating Silent Hill is a real thing. We may or may not see it at this event. The next one is the one that I am holding out the most hope for, most likely to end up, I don't want to say being disappointed, but it's probably not going to happen. Metal Gear Solid. Guys, at this point, it's my favorite game franchise. If we see Metal Gear Solid at this event and I'm streaming it live, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to absolutely lose it, and it's going to be an amazing thing. But I have to put it under 50-50 or less likely because there's no evidence whatsoever to show that, anything is happening with Metal Gear Solid, but definitely something I am holding out hope for. Then we also have Mark Cerny's secret game. Now, we don't even know if Mark Cerny's actually working on a game. This stems from a rumor, and it's just something that's kind of been floating around, so maybe we'll see Knack 3. I don't know. We also have the Resistance Remake or Resistance Trilogy Remastered. Some people have been speculating that this is something that a third team over at Insomniac has secretly been working on. I don't know. That one, again, is still kind of 50-50, but some of the games I'm about to list to you here are very much, I would say, less than 50-50, but more on the side of not going to happen. But still, people, are always thinking of all the possibilities. So we have The Getaway. Maybe we'll see The Getaway. We have Jak and Daxter. I know people have been holding out hope for that. Bloodborne 2. Not expecting that, but that would be amazing. PlayStation All-Stars 2. Probably not. Warhawk, I doubt it. Ape Escape, maybe. Siphon Filter, looking unlikely. And then Final Fantasy VII Part 2. Yeah, these are all games that I just don't think we're going to see. If any of these games that I just listed do end up being revealed, they're going to come as kind of a shock because there was literally no evidence whatsoever that they even existed. So that's pretty much going to do it for the video, guys. Again, I'm trying my best to go as quickly as I can without rushing it, but I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to end it here. Let me know your thoughts about everything I discussed in this video. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with, and if there's anything I may be missing here, be sure to leave all your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it, subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already, hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.